Hello, so my name is Marc Edwards, and tonight we're going to be learning about how to make nice icons. What do I mean by nice? I mean, for this talk anyway, I'm talking about, hopefully you can see this, pixel-aligned icons that look nice and sharp, like our nice icon on the left, not the not nice icon on the right. Here's another not nice icon, and another nice icon. No, they definitely do not look the same. Yet another one. So just to make my point here, going through a few. And here is a document not nice icon. So what's going on there? What's happening is that the icons haven't been designed with the target destination size in mind. So they've been drawn to a grid that doesn't match the actual screen grid that they're being displayed in. This can be for a whole bunch of reasons. It can be just because they were drawn that way. It can be because there's been some scaling going on. So that can, as you can see, at 100%, it looks nice and sharp. At everything else, it looks pretty bad. Obviously, at 200%, it'll look good again. It might be because there's fractional positioning. So sometimes things get shifted around. Certainly, if you've got icon fonts or other ways of drawing icons, they can look bad for this reason. Doesn't matter in 2019. Some time ago, we ended up getting phones that had far higher resolution screens, and that meant a lot of the details were now hidden and a lot smaller. You can't actually see individual pixels. So for the iPhone 4, we ended up with twice as many pixels in both dimension and twice the density. Again, here's another representation with the iPhone 10 in the mix as well. So we now have 3x displays. So we now have, where there used to be one pixel on an iPhone 1, we now have 4 on an iPhone 4 and newer devices, and we have 9 on an iPhone 10. But this actually doesn't tell the full story, because each pixel isn't actually a pixel that changes color. It's a bunch of smaller lights. So on the iPhone, we have a red, green, and blue stripe pattern. On the iPhone 4, it was the same. This is pretty common for IPS LCD displays. On the iPhone 10, you'll notice something interesting. The top left pixel actually can't show blue. There is no blue at all. And the center top pixel doesn't have any red. So if your argument is you don't need to draw accurate icons because everything's so high res anyway, this is just an argument showing that the iPhone 10, while the display does look awesome, and I do love the display, it's not necessarily a full 3x display in the traditional sense. Here's a photo, close-up of the screen, just in case you don't believe me. Photo's a bit crunchy, but you can see there that there's lots of green dots, one for every pixel, but not for red and blue. There's some other factors as well. So display scaling and display zoom and also Project Catalyst can play a role in this as well. And what they do is they actually change the scaling of what's being shown. And that can also, unfortunately, impact the quality of icons. So you can see for Project Catalyst, everything is actually scaled down about 77%. So that means if you've seen Project Catalyst apps, that's kind of why the text looks a little bit blurry, which is unfortunate. But I guess there's other reasons why the Catalyst is still a good thing. So, question is, does it matter in 2019, given we have high-res devices? No? You think no? Well, I don't know. I think it might matter. I think it still matters. I don't actually see much of an end to this. I don't think there is some magical date where this stuff just doesn't matter anymore. 2019, 2020, I think it's still going to matter. Possibly 2021, 2022. I think it's just forever. I mean, even if we have 4x devices, 5x devices, it's still something that is going to be an issue because it's still a reduction in quality, and there are other reasons why, like display zoom and Catalyst and everything else, where you really want to start with the best quality, and then if it gets reduced a bit from there and there's something you can't do anything about, like for accessibility, zoom and other stuff, then you're at least starting with the best possible initial point. So, how do we make nice icons? Really what you want to do is start designing everything using a 1x grid. So that's 1 point on iOS, and it's 1 dp for Android, 1 point for macOS, and for the web, 1 pixel, as in CSS pixels, which isn't actually 1 display pixel. That's another discussion we can have. Working at 1x is a lot faster, and it's more accurate. So it's not a thing where you need to require more effort. It's actually a lot easier to make high quality icons than it is to make low quality icons, which sounds counterintuitive, but some people manage to do it anyway. The only downside is that you do need to know the target size before you start designing. So you need to work out the size of the icon before you build your entire icon set. Here's an example of a couple of icons being made. As you can see, there's a really coarse grid that I'm working to there, which just makes it super easy. It's like building Lego. You just sort of snap stuff together and then it all falls together quite easily. It also means things like the stroke weights and the positioning, it's always integer offsets. So it's super easy. Just let this finish, do the next one. Sorry? All right, yep. Yeah, so you can see everything, all the strokes, everything's just all integer offsets, which makes it nice and fast. There is another thing you need to be careful of. When you're picking your stroke size, that actually can dictate the icon size, final icon size. If you want a 1 point wide stroke, then you actually need an odd by odd dimensioned icon so that you have a center line on both axes, because icons typically have center lines, and if you use a 1 point wide stroke, as you can see on this example, if you use a 1 point wide stroke on an even by even dimensioned icon, then you end up with a blurry line. So you need to set up your size from the start based on the stroke weight you want to use on the icons. As some general tips, I'd recommend using pings or just drawing stuff with core graphics directly. You can use SVGs via a library. This is for iOS. I guess the same advice is pretty similar for Android, except you probably should use vector drawables on Android. I think eventually we'll have a good vector asset format on iOS. I don't think we're there yet. So PDFs, as some people in this room might know, I'm not a fan of PDFs. Unfortunately, I don't think SF symbols really tick the right boxes either. Just to backtrack a little bit, SF symbols were introduced at WWDC 2019 this year, and it's a new icon set provided by Apple, and a new way of providing icons in your app as well. And it has a lot of conveniences, so it's got a lot of positives. But you might notice something about the tray icon on the top left there. That's actually the bad example from the start. So this is how it looks, and on the left is how it could look if there was a little bit more effort required, or effort taken in getting it nice and pixel snap for the target size being used. In fact, all the icons throughout this entire presentation have been SF symbols for the negative icons, including this one. And, yep, sorry, all of them. So, here's what you need to know. You need to design using the 1x grid, so the 1 point grid for iOS and macOS. Unfortunately, you need to know the size, destination size before you start. This is critical, otherwise you can't design at the same grid that's going to be used to display the icons. And you need to consider the stroke weights you're going to use for the icons as well. So if you want them to be able to be centered in the icon, then you have to choose an either even by even dimensions for the icon or odd by odd. And I know some people won't be able to notice the difference. And I know, obviously, the same thing is true with when you're writing code. There'll be certain things that you care about and other people might not. I really care about this stuff, and I know some people can't see the difference or don't care. I think it's okay to care. I think it's fine to care. I think it's fine to complain. And that's it. So if there's any questions, I think they're going to be taken afterwards, after the next talk, or you can hassle me on Twitter. Thank you.